I went to my sacred places when I was back on the East Coast. No, they were not churches, but they were places that were dedicated to the wonderful expanse of a oneness with God, of the glory of something greater than myself, the rolling and crashing ocean that seems spiritually to swallow me up and give me life, the rocky coast to stand there as the wind blew, sacred spaces. I remember last time I visited one of them, they were reconstructing a little house or shed, and it seemed like those sacred spaces had been desecrated by all of the machinery that they had brought there. As I was coming home, Susan and I were listening to the broadcast from the Capitol as that space was being desecrated over and over again. Those who were broadcasting talked about it as a sacred space. And that it may be a unifying space, a building that has been given a symbol greater than ourselves, a hope beyond ourselves, in which the entire nation, or at least a major part of it, agree as to what that symbol means. And here it had been desecrated. I believe it was more than a political act, but an act that comes to the heart of what we as human beings need in order to experience a fullness of life, that there are things beyond ourselves, things that we hallow, call holy, that we reserve away from the mundane and mendacity of our lives. And so, I've thought about these days after what we experienced on the 6th of January. And I think about our church building and why it is so important for many of us to be back in that place. Why there are certain churches and sanctuaries which are sacred to me. Why it is important that when from time to time I forget to say grace before dinner, a hand comes across that we shall not eat before we return thanks to God, that this meal is in and of itself sacred. This is a place of love and peace to share our hearts together over the table. I was gratified that when we were home and seated around the table, that my grandson learned about table grace. He'd already learned about praying before he went to sleep, but this was different and new, and we prayed before we ate dinner. As the week went along, and I asked the grace in my normal way before dinner, he intervened. He knew how to pray. He was so proud to know the prayer. Put his hands out and we all bowed our heads. This was a sacred meal. And so he began the prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Keep me safe throughout the night. Wake me with the morning light. God bless Papa, God bless Granny, and God bless Mommy, and God bless Daddy, and God bless Censor. We didn't correct him with the appropriate grace before dinner instead of the prayer before bed. but it was a sense that we live from the sacred to the sacred. And that sacred is an important place that unifies us with one another that shall not be divided. That sacred unifies us as a people and leads us to the better angels of our nature and a more perfect union and a greater hope for all of the peoples of the earth. Sacred. We shall not become cynical or self-centered enough that nothing is sacred anymore. Because where would be our hope? Where would be our union? Where would be our future? Sacred. May our relationships, our places of meeting, the meals that we share, the wonder of the earth be restored to us as sacred. Amen.